Good morning, guys. This is Vandal, CVW-66 here with a MDC, our mission data card creation tutorial for the new guys going for their IQ eval flight here pretty soon. This is going to help get you through how to create your MDC package. We'll get into using this template as well as Kneeboard Builder, CombatFlite. And actually here is a list of what you're going to need. So you're going to need Kneeboard Builder for DCS and CombatFlite. Those are both free downloads. And you'll need a paint program. In my tutorials and my skinning, I use paint.net. You'll need some kind of a word processor. Microsoft Word's what I have, works well. And if whatever word processor you're using can't convert PDFs, then you probably need a PDF converter, but there is a way around doing that. You can take some screenshots later, and I could show you how to do that. Additionally, from the CVW-66 resources, as of now, it's all on our Discord, but we're moving to a website in the future, so I'm not sure where these files will be, but when you're going through your training, you'll need to locate them. The CombatFlite file that we use, a mission file. For example, right now we are at the Nevada training range, and our MDC template. Again, those files will all be available somewhere. You'll just probably need to track them down at the time. A couple of other references that are really helpful. If you go to YouTube, search DCS Kneeboard Builder. This first one that pulls up, Kneeboard Builder for DCS World Overview by Rod White. This is a really good tutorial on how to install and get your Kneeboard Builder pointed at your DCS installation. And then I'll show you how to get the images in there. But yeah, it works really well. Very helpful. And then CombatFlite. I haven't even watched all these. I've watched a little bit of one or two of them. Lots of different ones in here to give you a hand. But I'm just going to show you the basics today. So, with that said, let's get to it. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is open CombatFlite. Here we go. Opens to the Nevada sectional, or Las Vegas sectional chart. Zoom in just a little bit, and down here we can see Nellis. And the MOAs that we operate in is typically this area all up through here. Alright. We'll go to Import Flight and find that CF file that you have, and we're going to open that. There we go. From Nellis we have waypoint 1, waypoint 2, this is what we call Sally Corridor, and waypoint 3. Waypoint 3 is also bullseye for us as well. Alright, so all our flights typically come out to this direction, and then we'll split up to the west. We have MOA Center, MOA West, MOA South, and out here, MOA East. MOA is military operating airspace. It's the magenta borders along here. Now, before you actually get to planning your flight, you're going to need to figure out which one you're going to be going to. So in the sign-up section right now of our Discord, you can list ahead of time which MOA you'll be going to. That helps flights deconflict with each other. You can book those ahead of time. Alright, let's go ahead and import our mission file now. Now we get a whole bunch of different options. If we want to see red objects, which for this one we don't need it, we'll just go ahead and deselect that. But a lot of other options here that are going to be visible. We'll go ahead and do that now. We'll import everything, and you'll see there's just an awful lot of stuff that's going to pop up. There we go. Pretty hard to see clearly in here. There's just a lot of clutter, what Red calls the blue nightmare, for good reason. But let's go ahead and get rid of some of these layers in here. Now each of these blue points, they're nav points, and they'll have lat longs associated with them. This one, Black 13, it's got lat longs as well. So if you have a particular target, like in our case right now, we are doing a lot with Container City. We're doing some bombing over there, and it's out here It's out here off to the west. But it gives you the lat and longs, and then you could scroll along with your mouse cursor. Here's the lat longs on the bottom. You can move your cursor around. There's probably an easier way to just get it to highlight, but I can't figure that out at this point. I'm still pretty new to this software myself. But anyway, that's how you could just click on the nav points and get their lat longs pretty quick. But we don't need all these for today. Let's get rid of those. And we'll just continue going down through the list here. Oops, there we go. Alright, we'll deselect that as well. So we've got some blue units out here. Those are okay. One nice thing we have is our tanker track. It's pretty helpful. Now, here's our regular waypoints 1, 2, and 3. We don't need this fourth one. Let's see who this belongs to. We're going to click on that. Go back over to our packages. And we see that belongs to some F-16s. We don't need to show that. So we'll deselect it. There we go. Now, for our flight today, you would have talked with your instructor and you guys would figure out where you're going to go. You're going to book, we'll say you booked somewhere out to the to center, MOA center. So we're just going to create ourselves some kind of a MOA out this area. Okay. You're not responsible for creating this MDC for the rest of the people flying with you, but it's a good idea if you are going to be the one doing the briefing, because there might be 2 or 3 other flights going with you. It's kind of nice to go ahead and highlight the other MOAs for the other guys as well. So I'm going to come over here to the Layers tab, and we're going to add a new layer. Zoom in just a little bit. Alright, come up to Object and Polygon, and we're going to do Close Polygon. Alright, and right here we've got this dry lake here. That's a pretty good visual reference point. Let's click right there. We'll come down to the top of this little MOA and restricted area, and we're just going to come over and make, there we go, we'll make our little polygon right there. Now, we don't want to name it polygon. We're going to call this MOA Center. There we go. And we'll give it a nice color. How about that color right there? Let's fill it. Now notice we named it here MOA Center, and it's named MOA Center here as well. But as soon as we fill it, now you can't see that. It's really hard to see. So let's just uncheck the Show Text box for now. Line style, it's currently dashes around the border. Let's do solid. It looks nice. Now if I start clicking, notice my cursor is a crosshair as I'm doing this because I've got the polygon selection tool. If I start clicking again, it's going to add more points to this polygon. So let's go ahead and click back to polygon. Notice that something is highlighted up here now. We don't want that. We'll click polygon once. We'll click it twice. Now I have a regular mouse cursor back and I'm free to drag around. Alright. Over here in our layers, we have our polygon now labeled MOA Center. Let's add another layer. You could probably all do it within the same layer, but this way if you make a mistake in one, you could just delete it out pretty easily. Let's go to the info text box, and we'll just click somewhere in here. And MOA Center. Make it 14 points so it stands out. And black on black seems to work pretty well for a lot of them from what I found. It looks pretty good. Now same thing, I've got the cursor, or my cursor is the crosshairs, so if I clicked again, it would be a new text box right here. So let's click up here so that it is not highlighted. And one more time. There we go. And now I can move around. Okay. So you could do this for all different MOAs if you'd like. Alright, but for ours, we're just going to do just the center one for our tutorial. Now, let's figure out where we're going to go. There's a couple different ways to do this. For the F-18s, you have some options. Here, let's pick under the flight tab, we'll just pick one of these F-18 flights. Notice there's 3 steer points. We'll click steer point 3, which highlights right here. Happens to be bullseye. We're going to go insert waypoint. And we'll just click right in the middle of the MOA. Click on insert waypoint again. Alright. Now, our waypoint 4 here on the left, waypoint 4, there's our latitude, longitudes. Let's go ahead, get a notepad, and we'll copy paste this. Let's do waypoint 4, copy paste, and the elevation is 6562, and that's feet. Now, something nice for the F-18s is the option to, we can actually draw this box on our displays in the cockpit so we know the constraints of the MOA. If we didn't, say we are in an F-14, and I'm not an F-14 guy, I just like to dogfight in it, so I don't know what all kinds of tools. I do know that it can be kind of hard with nav waypoints, I guess. Well, here's our bullseye, waypoint 3, and down here at the bottom we have our cursor range from bullseye. So we know if we go out here to our waypoint 4, that's 27 miles. Okay, 27, and here's 9 miles. So that's about 18 if I can actually do math at 6 in the morning. That's about 18 miles. And then 27 and 42, that's about 15. So we roughly have roughly 15 miles or so from center of waypoint 4. That should keep us in that box. We have maybe a little leeway out this direction, but we just kind of have a rough idea of where to stay within our MOA. But the F-18, we're going to do something a little different. What we can do is go to insert waypoint, and let's zoom in, and we'll click here. There we go. We're going to go through all of those, and let's go back to insert waypoint. We'll turn that off. Now, so we'll come up here, and we've clicked waypoint 5. We're going to go and paste in our remaining waypoints. Waypoint 5, and we'll copy paste. And again, it's just putting elevation 6562 in here for all these. It's just airborne waypoints. It really doesn't matter. But just thought I would point that out. Now let's go to waypoint 6. And we're just going to keep doing this. I'll cut away, do the last 2 waypoints, and then I'll get right back with you. Okay, I'm back. I've done waypoints 5, 6, 7, and 8, just to copy paste. So now we have all 4 waypoints that would define this MOA, as long as our center waypoint. Alright, we'll enter those into the plane, and it'll make a lot more sense in the next tutorial. Okay, now we're going to minimize all of the boxes. We'll click here, get rid of that. And we're going to zoom out just a little bit. There we go. That's pretty good. Get your cursor out of the way, and we're going to take a screenshot. Alright, we are done with CombatFlite for the time being. So let's go ahead and close this. Now with that screenshot, we're going to open up our paint program. We'll go open, screenshots, and we'll find the one that we just did. Here it is. Let's take our crop tool, and we'll just crop out an area about like so that's got all the MOAs, or most of them. And we will go to copy, new image, and we'll paste this. There we go. Now we need to save this as a PNG, and I have a folder just for this MDC tutorial, and we're going to call this MDC Demo 1. There we go. That's saved, and we'll minimize. Alright, now let's head over to the Word program. So we're going to open up Word, and we're going to open up our package template. We'll start here with the date. Today is the 16th of April. And we're just going to work on filling in the fields. The step time, that is the mission time, the in-game time. It's not the time of your briefing, which might be in the afternoon. So whatever time the mission is set to, I'm going to say it's 0800. Bullseye at waypoint 3 for our training range. Mission might be IQ qual. Package numbers, call sign, we don't need to worry about that. Nothing with the objective and targets. But package detail, we are going to be Dodge 1 today, which is an F-18 flight. Pilots will be myself, and who else is going to fly with us? Joe. Alright, what channel are we going to be in cockpit? 1-2, it's COM1 button 2, with a yardstick of 20 and 83 Yankee. And our task will just be IQ check. Joker and bingo, whatever you have determined ahead of time with your instructor. And a typical loadout for this. TCTS pod, cap aim 9, and a centerline tank. If you have more flights, you can continue on. You could do forward 2, which might be some F-14s. You could put the pilots, whoever might be going out that day, and you could assign them channel or COM1 button 3, give them a yardstick 21 and 84 Yankee. You'd have to talk to them about their fuel and loadout, but you could put everybody's information there. That way they could just grab this and drop it in their Kneeboard Builder as well. It's nice and quick. You'll come on down to communications. COM1 button 1 is the common freak for everyone. 300.1. And our flight. 300.2. And so on and so forth. So forward 2 would be COM1 button 3, and 1-4, 1-5, and so on. Alright, let's scroll on down here. Now as far as navigation, you can do whatever you like. I usually put 300 knots or so for the first little bit out to waypoint 1. But what you're going to want is down here waypoint 4. That's going to be MOA Center. That's the one we're going to. And we're going to come down to the lat longs that we saved. And we're just going to copy paste. There we go. Now, remember we got these remaining waypoint 5s, 6, 7, and 8 to define our borders. I'm going to go ahead and do the same. I'm going to copy paste here. I'll cut away and I'll bring you back here in a moment. Okay, I'm back. I have waypoints 5 through 8 pasted in here. So again, when we get into the F-18, I'll show you how to enter these waypoints. We won't do all of them together, but show you how to go ahead and draw that box out. Alright, continuing on, the route map. That's what we created earlier. I'm going to delete the text out and go to Insert, a picture. See, that was on our desktop, wasn't it? MDC Demo 1. And we'll insert that. It drops it in. There we go, looks nice. Scroll on down. Timetable, threats. You don't need to worry about any of this. We'll come down to game plan. That's what you're going to need to know for your IQ. And we're going to change this to a black text, and we'll delete that. And we're going to type in Dodge 1. That way we know that this is just the information for Dodge 1. This doesn't apply to everyone. What the game plan is, it's how you want your IQ check to go, since you're going to be in the lead. So just kind of a flow through. Think through your flight, what's going to happen at certain points. The first thing is obviously going to be the takeoff. And you would brief the other guy. You're going to do 10-second spacing. He'll rejoin parade. And you'll be doing 300 knots, going out to waypoint 1. And you would just continue more bullets on down to get the basically just a general overview of how it's all going to go. You're going to go out, do some aerial refueling, you'll do your tack turns, just all that information. Okay. So this is all done for the time being. Let's go ahead and we'll save as IQ MDC. Save that. Now let's save it also as same place. Let's save this as a PDF. There we go. Close that. Minimize this. Let's open up Kneeboard Builder. There we go. Now this assumes that you do have it all installed right, following one of those tutorials. So we're just going to go right on ahead, and it immediately opens up to import PDF, and we're going to use that. Add file, MDC demo, and here it is. Now select the aircraft. In this case, we're going to the F-18, and we're going to call this IQ check. There we go. And we'll begin the import. All files were converted. Now let's go to create custom kneeboard for the F-18. And there we go, IQ check is here. Now let's say if you want to look at it or modify it, add anything else. There we go. Got everything here. Nice, all our PDFs are brought in, converted right, everything's perfectly sized. Let's cancel that. Now, I told you if you didn't have a PDF converter that I would show you how to do the other way. Well, remember how we took a screenshot of CombatFlite. We highlighted our box, we did a copy, paste into a new image, and then we did a file save as an image. You would do the same thing with these documents. Maybe zoom, actually that's pretty good right about there. You would take screenshots of each page. You would crop out and do a copy paste in your paint program, and you're just going to save those all as individual image files. And then you go back to your Kneeboard Builder, and instead of using import PDF HTML, you're going to create custom kneeboard, select the F-18, and then you're going to come down to new, group name, and we'll say this IQ check 2, and we'll create that, select it, modify, and now you can import images. There's our MDC demo 1 if you wanted to import that, but we're not going to do that. Cancel, but that's the same way you can do it. Alright, anyway, IQ check, we're going to select that and we're going to push it to the right. There we go. And now I've got some others in here, we'll show you later, but we're going to build custom kneeboard for the F-18. It's done. So click OK, and we're just going to minimize this. You don't want to close it. Come down here to the tray. Here's Kneeboard Builder. Right click, Profiles, F-18 and F-18, and just click that. You might have several different profiles in Kneeboard Builder, several different airplanes, so always make sure you're going to set the active profile for whatever you're going to be using. And that about takes care of this part of the tutorial, so I will see you in the plane. Okay guys, welcome back. We are here in the cockpit, and let's check out that kneeboard that we created. Go ahead and pull it up. Now it might look a little different since I'm using Oculus Mirror to record. Might be in a funny spot. Looks a little better for me in cockpit. But anyway, you can see we have waypoints 0, which is Nellis, and then 1, 2, and 3, which we saw in CombatFlite. Now we created up to 8 waypoints. Those won't show on your Kneeboard. In order to get those to show here, we'd have to go into Mission Editor in DCS itself and add those. So it was mainly just a visual representation for us in our briefing to see where we're going to be going, and then to get those latitude longitude coordinates. So let's go ahead and skip on forward. By the way, for going through your preparing for your IQ check, I got a copy of the tack turns and tack form and put them in my Kneeboard. I thought it was a big help, so it might be a useful tip for the new guys. That's some old information, but here we go. This is the one that we created. There we go. We got pilots Mantle and Joe. And he's probably sitting over there. All of our information's there. Second page. There is our route. There's the waypoints that we entered with our MOA. And yeah, looks like everything turned out pretty well. There's the game plan down there as well. So everything's nicely formatted. I hope this was an easy tutorial for you to follow. I plan on doing some more of these. And as far as those waypoints go, you can join me with the next one, the cold start for the F-18. We'll show you how to get ready for your IQ check flight, just for all of the flights that we do. I'll run through how to enter in all the waypoints and do your checks and whatnot. So we'll see you guys next time.